And actually, no, I don't want to work. No, I want to live. I don't want to work. Not for anybody else, not to be a slave to the system. Baby, I want to live every day. I want to wake up and do exactly what I want to do. And I don't see why there's an issue with that.
Universal basic income, $1,500 a month. Everyone gets it, whether you make $1 billion or nothing. Once you turn 17 years old, you get $1,500 a month. As long as that could eliminate a lot of the other wasteful programs out there, I think it's a better idea. There's too many cooks in the kitchen for the government to operate efficiently. So if we could cut out a lot of the things that are just wasting money, but give everyone $1,500 a month.
Okay.
I think it'd be quite interesting to see what happens on that.
Cool.
We want Andrew Yang on the podcast.
You haven't had Andrew?
No. We have been asking for like a year and a half to get...
He's not doing anything.
Andrew Yang.
Andrew, please. And Bernie Sanders. And AOC.
Would AOC want to do it? I feel like...
No, she wouldn't want to.
She 100% would not.
Yeah.
She would have nothing to gain, too much to lose.
Yeah.
We need a universal basic income. By 2055, it's predicted that over half of all the jobs today will be lost due to automation, and over half of the global population will be unemployed, with no real way to generate income. To prevent the economy from completely collapsing, governments will have to start handing out the UBI, an unconditional payment sent to everyone that will be enough to cover all basic living needs. It wouldn't matter if you were a CEO, a single mother, or a college student, everyone would be entitled to the same amount every single month. This would be a promise of equal opportunity, not equal outcome, a new starting point set above the poverty line, and it would be paid for by some of the richest companies in the world. The concept of a UBI has been around for a while, and it's been tested more than once. Here in Canada, in the town of Dauphin, Manitoba, it was implemented in the 1970s, and they were able to successfully eliminate poverty for 5 years. The Bolsa Familia program in Brazil is a conditional basic income program that has been running since 2003, and has had an immediate and significant effect on the living conditions of low-income families, and has been widely accepted as a major policy success for the country. And anywhere it's been tested, the evidence so far suggests that getting a basic income tends to boost happiness, health, school attendance, and trust in social institutions while reducing crime. On top of the UBI, people would still be able to get a job or two, or they could pursue artistic interests, start a business, or focus solely on their education and self-development, without ever having to worry about putting food on the table or a roof over their head. And while some may argue that it's too expensive of an investment, ultimately it'll cost less money than having to bail out an entire economy. What is your opinion on a UBI? I would love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you.
It is your boy, Black Ronin, back on at it again. What another banger and fire video for y'all's out there today. They're y'all. Welcome on back to the channel and a happy New Year's. We have all made it to 2026, this beautiful new year. And I honestly think this is going to be one of the most game-changing years in American history, world history, honestly. But I'm going to get to that in a moment. But guys, real quick, to anybody new to this channel, just so y'all know, these are not really my typical type of videos on this channel. I do kind of mix it up, but I mainly talk about real life experiences that I particularly go through. People that look like me, that's usually the type of videos I make. But at the same time, I do branch out and I will mix it up occasionally. If I find something interesting and something I really resonate with, I will go ahead and speak on it. Like this particular topic, universal basic income. Now, I personally believe that UBI will honestly save a lot of relationships. I think we'll see a lot more families being born here in America and honestly worldwide because the birth rates are going down. And I mean, guys, you can't have a society without really much people. Sure, you got the AI running everything, but at the same time, you still got a boatload of people here in this world. So you got to plan for something. So I personally think that with everything going on and seeing 2026 is really going to be a big game changer of a year, in my personal opinion. I do believe that the way we look at money is going to change forever in this particular year. And I also believe that, the way that we just go through life is going to really be different than what we're used to from before. And honestly, guys, I think universal basic income would make a lot more happier families. I believe that, it's definitely going to have stronger relationships and you're going to see stronger communities come back. Because what is keeping everybody apart? What is keeping everybody so divided the most? What is keeping so many people just, stuck and not really voicing their opinion? Don't really feel as free, to really do as much. It's like if you're making good money, you don't have time to spend it. That's the first category you fall into. So you're working hard. Well, I mean, but you don't have time for really anybody else. And in terms of family, I mean, okay, cool, you got a family, but you don't really see them. And we wonder why a lot of marriages, relationships don't really work, because people need time to each other. They need intimacy. They need to be together, Like if you want a stable, families, if you really want that. And with universal basic income, okay, cool. Everybody is now on a fair playing field. So, and then on top of that, no more poverty. Everybody is just like, they got a roof over their head. And they're able to strive. They're able to still, maneuver. Now, guys, like I said in my last video, listen, I know that I do understand both sides. I understand the people who are against UBI, universal basic income. I understand it. But me personally, like, you have to understand, some people move differently. Some people, like Gen Z, my generation, the brokest generation out here, it's a lot of us that really don't have as much hope like that. Universal basic income, and also we're going through pretty much a reset through this country, which I'll get into in a moment. But looking at all the dynamics of everything in America and just worldwide, it makes the most sense, because if we want more families to be born, we got to give people a good quality of life. Now, a lot of people are going to look at it and be like, well, America is this, America is that. America has the worst mental health probably imaginable that you're going to come across out of many different places out here. Mental health is horrific. So if you guys, you put in something like universal basic income, it could really help. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, if we go with, let's say, $1,500, how on earth is that going to cover me? Okay, hear me out. I feel like this is going to be the year where we get a great reset. So all your debt, maybe from here on out, may be wiped clean. So now everybody gets a fresh start. Now the prices that we're used to for in terms of renting and apartments, that whole dynamic is going to change. Instead of paying almost $2,000 for like an apartment every month, and you get a check, let's say for $1,500. Okay, cool. Everything's rebooted. And then we got the corporations. Okay, they bought up all the apartment, they bought up all the apartment complexes, the properties, the houses, and all the people, just normal everyday people, but they business owners, and they got properties and stuff. Corporations bought them out, gave them like 500 million or however much they wanted to spend. And yeah, they're rich landlords. So, so they're good, and they're still going to get their money, 1,500 every month coming in. So, these guys are going to be pretty good. So now there's more control, and you can work with the law, make sure that, hey, everybody is going to be getting, treated fairly, like 100%, across the board. Now, the cool thing, at least here in the States, every state can move pretty differently when it comes down to UBI. So some states are going to be like, hey, this is how much you're going to get. Rent is going to be this much, and it's not going to change. It's plain and simple. It's going to stay like that. Yeah, like by law, we have to come up with a way so that way the rent doesn't go crazy, because that's the biggest problem. We can set up a system, but if we don't control the amount of people out here who, in terms of like the cost of rent, if you can't have any control over that, yeah, that's pretty scary. Yeah. But honestly, man, if you're given a fair amount of money and you can still live comfortably, AI is taking over and it's finna do all the jobs pretty much. I mean, dude, you're gonna live pretty dang on good. That's a decent life. And going back to quality of life, in terms of a decent relationship, people really just want time with one another. People want honesty. People want to just have somebody to listen to, somebody that's honest and down to earth. But at the same time, they speak their mind. They don't let their partner just walk all over them. And on top of that, they're healthy. A lot of men and women ain't healthy. So if we go into UBI, I do think stronger communities will happen, because this is America for you guys. In terms of capitalism, I'm not against it, but just seeing the results of it, keep in mind, I'm only 26 years old. So, going through all this idea of just chasing a dollar and barely have any time for anything else or anybody else for that matter. I mean, that's guys, that's not an awesome life. Sure, you make your money. Sure, you're able to own a few things. Now you can finally retire, but look at the end result. Your health is deteriorated, horrible. You're drained of your spirit. You're old to the point where it's just like, I'm too old to do much of anything. Is that really how you want to go out as a human being? Because I really don't want to do that. Listen, I will work. I'll work now. Do not get it messed up. I will work. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not trying to make this my life. I still want to have fun. I still want to do stuff. I care about my health. I care about achieving, things bigger than me. And you can still do that with universal basic income. You can, guys, you not know how you can invest. You can invest that money, some of it, and take care of all your needs. You can travel. You can do pretty much everything you want to do, guys. It would honestly be a pretty dang on awesome and fun life, if I'm keeping it real with you. And what does most men and women want at the end of the day? To have a good quality of life. That's the only reason why you see a lot of women, they don't really tend to go for the man that they really want, because a lot of times the man that they really want, he's not really financially there yet. Because listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. When you're handsome, listen, I'm not the most handsome dude walking around, but when you look decent, you take care of yourself, you got a little bit of muscle on you. I'm not the biggest guy, but you can look at me and be like, yeah, this is a decent looking dude. He knows his way around women. When you're a dude that falls into that category, dating is actually harder, if you want real commitment, because a lot of times you don't really have support. Honestly, well, I'm not going to say you don't have support, but it's difficult to get people to cheer you on when you look decent, because most people will look at you and be like, oh, he's got his life all figured out, and then a lot of people will look at you and be like, oh, he's probably uppity. He's probably rude. He's probably X, Y, and Z, so many different things that people will throw on you, and they don't even want to fuck with you because of that. So you got so many things coming against you, and so many people looking down and just thinking like, oh, this guy, so, so we fall into that category where we're already hated, So when you're a type of man like that, building community is pretty tough. Not all the time, you just got to really search around and really find people that you really connect with. So if you fall into that category, relationships is going to be tough, because a lot of women is really going to see you as, just an object, if I'm being real with you. But there are some cool women out there. Like, guys, I have met some really awesome women, and the really cool ones, guys, I'm not going to lie, they don't really want families like that. They say, man, this world is crap. It's a struggle to really prosper out here. And I don't blame women for trying to go for a stable man, or, the more prosperous, high end, high earners, awesome across the board type of man. I can't get upset with that. All I could do as a man is really just keep on going out here, So if you fall into that category, yeah, that's really how it's going to be as a man, a decent looking man. Now, honestly, guys, why do women choose a man that's out of shape and, don't look great or nothing? Decent heart, I'm gonna be real with you guys. She's settled for you. I know that's hard to wrap your head around, but she's settling. Now, do you got women that, maybe like a man that's really obese? Sure, you got them out there, but that's a lot of women want a man that looks decent, carry himself well, decent morals and stuff. But they will take a man that, that's none of that at all. And they settle for the man that they really don't want, But at the same time, they're not going to respect you though. You know, it's certain things that you just get when you're just more attractive. And one of the things that you get, you're going to get a woman that's going to spoil you. Not fully, but but she's going to take her time to really, do some nice stuff for you. Cause guys, listen, I deal with older women, that's usually what I rock with, so I do rock with older women. I love them, man. Something about a woman that's in her late 30s, early 40s, cause I'm 26 and I mean, just awesome, man. I love getting spoiled by just older women. Like they're amazing, but I still rock with my generation. But yeah, that's usually who I do, the most best with, at times. But yeah, guys, a lot of these women that get with a lot of men that they're just not attracted to, they're really just controlling them, and then a lot of women, like they're so used to just being, having all the power in a relationship. And a lot of dudes just never really had a beautiful woman to begin with. So when they get her, they just roll out the red carpet. They don't vet her. They don't get to really know the type of person she is before they say, hey, let's make this official. So yeah, and then keep in mind too, when you're the majority, like let's just say for the most part, like if you're a white person, listen, you're the majority. So I don't know how it is for y'all community, but y'all can be obese and still be having the baddest woman. But you're a minority, man or woman. That shit don't fly in the black community. That don't fly in the black community, mulatto community. Nah, that don't fly. Mexicans, they don't give a fuck. Yeah, they move like y'all, but melanated, like other melanated people with, like Afro type, African type features. Yeah, we don't move like that. Yeah, we gotta have a certain level of just respect to our bodies. No offense to you guys, but yeah, like that. I don't know. We just move different, but yeah. So yeah, you gotta really do take care of your bodies out there, because that can really take you a long way with a lot of women. And just really take your time, get to know people. But in terms of universal basic income, we're going to put everybody on a fair playing field. Now, all you have to worry about as a man is really just your health, being healthier, working out, and just becoming a better person. Like, it's going to be a lot more easier. But I do know a lot of dudes, they're going to get even more lazier, possibly. 100%. But guess what? Dudes like me, we're going to shine. But guess what? You guys that aren't on that level or don't want to put in the work, you guys are, we do have AI for a reason. So a lot of y'all probably going to have these realistic robots. That's what y'all probably going to have. I'm not saying people that, decent looking, carrying themselves well, and they might have a couple too with their girl, they might have the real girlfriend, if you get woman, yeah, you're going to have the girl you want and then have the bot on the side. So you're like, hey, babe, this is so I don't cheat. This is right here. This is just for fun. And hey, I still got you, so hey, I don't know. I feel like that's where we're going in terms of relationships down the line. But a lot of dudes, they're probably just going to take the bot and call it a day. But the real man out here, they're still going to seek out families. So, keep that in mind. So honestly, everything was really starting to balance out in terms of like really in terms of relationships down the line. And 2026 is really going to start to prove that when everything goes through a big reset. Because now finances, financially, you don't have to really worry about nothing anymore. Everybody's on a fair playing field. Dating is going to get a lot better, because most people, guys, a lot of us just want time for one another. A lot of us just really just want to, vibe with just one other person. And, we don't have to, everything we do, guys, we just don't want to have to stress so hard about money. That's really what's messing everything up out here. Now, okay, cool. You want to spend a little money here and there, take a girl, okay date, nothing too flashy. It's not going to break the bank at that point, So I think we're going to get down to some really nice times. I do think we are going to have some good days ahead of us if we go down the universal basic income, that type of route. I think we're going to see a lot less crime. But I will say, when it comes down to one thing, there is one thing I do got to point out. when dudes like me, when we start to really pull the woman and keep the woman that we really want, and because guys, really before what's really holding us back outside of money at times, when us dudes do look decent. Another thing too is social status, because you have to keep in mind a lot of dudes that tend to really look decent, carry themselves well, and trying to build something, they don't, like guys, we usually don't have the most money at times. And what does society hate more? A brokey. Yeah, you don't want to be a brokey. It sucks. But you can still get women though. Like, you don't keep them, but you know, you can still get women. But you know, if you fall into that category, but now you change the roles now, and now all of a sudden everybody on a fair playing field, and we get the woman that we, you know, that we always wanted, and we still keep them. Now you other guys over there, a lot of bitbacks, man, they gonna get angry. They gonna get furious. And I'm gonna be real with you, man. You may have to learn some fighting skills, but which I'm not really worried. Listen, I'm not a crazy fighter or nothing like that. I know a little bit. I'm nothing crazy, but I will say, pass me any type of tool, you know, weapon, I go savage. You know, like I used to be an exotic dancer. I'm not saying, first of all, I ain't never threw hands in the club, just so y'all know. But I will say, hey, your boy does know scripper jujitsu. So yeah, like I be getting down, you know, back in the day. I used to go by Kelly Skywalker. So, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I really used to do my thing back then. So I know a little something. But yeah, you know, like it's gonna get real wild out here, you know. But honestly, like I said, with AI, everything's really gonna balance out, in my personal opinion. But yeah, man, I really do believe that, honestly, you know, relationships will get better due to universal basic income. People can afford cars again. You know, people can really actually build credit, you know, like at long last. So it's going to be a much better time to really survive and thrive out here. And yeah, it's going to be a different time. All you have to do as a man at that point is just look decent, carry yourself well. Like things are really, really going to change out here. And I can't wait to see the final results, man. It's going to be really, really cool. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be scary, but you know, I'm ready for this new world. And I think, you know, we're on to something out here. But yeah, guys, one more thing I do want to mention too, before I wrap this up, in terms of this whole reset of basically our economy, I do know that, you know, Trump and, you know, like the administration and just the higher ups and everybody, they're looking into adopting Bitcoin and having Bitcoin basically play a part in help clearing out all the debt in America to help reset it. So that is a possibility. You know, don't quote me on that, but I have been doing research on that particular stuff. But hey, it might be something that, you know, could really help us. So we might get US dollars and Bitcoin and all that stuff, you know, to really help us financially. Now, hey, I do got a little bit, you know, a crypto, a little bit. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work in terms of buying stuff, because, hey, if I can use my crypto, this certain coin that's, you know, not really worth anything, but then all of a sudden it becomes very, very valuable in our day-to-day society. I mean, man, I can really go far with that. So I can get USD, but now my crypto is like really valuable because I jumped on it early, and I can really start shopping with it. I can buy food with it. I can buy a car with it, you know, on top of the US dollars. I'm very, very curious to see how the money is going to change our entire type of spending and our dynamics out here. But hey, man, you know, I do think relationships will get better, because after everything I just stated, man, it really just falls down to just human nature, you know, just putting everybody in a environment where there's just, you're not stressing so much all the time. You got time to breathe. You got time. You know, that's the number one thing, guys, in life is time. You get one life, you know, and listen, you can't take a house with you. I know a lot of you guys say, hey, man, I want to own this. I want to own that. I get you. But at the same time, you know, you can't take a house with you. You can't take a car with you. You can't take none of this stuff with you, you know. So, hey, man, this ain't a bad life, but it is your boy Black Ronin. Like and subscribe, share. Y'all take it easy.